Bismillah, walhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Brothers, welcome to this new module on men's health. Here we've divided it conveniently into two aspects. Physical health, which is muscle and metabolism, and mental health. So here, in this module, we'll be going through all the lessons relevant to physical health. There's a hadith of Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam where he says that the mu'minul qawi khayrun mu'minul da'if. The strong believer is better than the weak believer, although there's goodness in both of them. This underscores the next 10 or so lessons which we will teach you in this physical health module, inshaAllah ta'ala. How to be a strong Muslim man with a high metabolism, with a high libido, someone who doesn't hold much fat, because we know the more fat you hold, it can lead to spiritual diseases as well. In the hadith of Umar radiallahu anh, the narration of Umar radiallahu anh, when he saw a man with a big belly and he chastised him, when the man said, "This is a blessing from Allah," and Umar radiallahu anh said, "No, this is a curse from Allah." So this module will talk about the importance of having a masculine, manly frame, and as a result of the muscle you hold, having a high metabolic rate, which then can lead to less fat gain. That's two things. I wanted to start the story, or start the module rather, with alluding to the story of Musa alayhi salam. So Musa alayhi salam is the most mentioned prophet in the Qur'an. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not put something in the Qur'an or omit something in the Qur'an without hikmah. He captured the moment where the two women described Musa alayhi salam for the first time to their father after he had watered their flock. What did they describe him as? They said, "Oh father, employ him, for he is qawiyun amin." Qawi was the first thing they mentioned when they described him, for indeed he was very strong. So a big part of rajula, which we mentioned in another module, is being strong, having physical capabilities. They say, be a man who is like a sword, but he is sheathed. And another quote is, "It is better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war." And another quote similar to that is, "If you separate the scholars from the fighters, the fighting will be done by idiots and the thinking will be done by cowards." So Islam is an all-encompassing deen. It encompasses physical strength, which we cover here, moral strength, which we cover in masculinity. It covers sexual strength, which we cover in the marriage module. Also covers financial strength as well. So all these various aspects of strength and of character, of course. Your adab and akhlaq must be strong, and that of integrity, and that of a Muslim. But in this module, and in the first lesson, we're going to lay out the groundwork for the next 9 lessons, inshaAllah, on physical health. So, why is muscle important? Men generally have much lower body fat than women. Should be 15% in men or below, and in women should be 20 to 30%. Many reasons for that. Mainly estrogen. Estrogen is a female hormone. It's found in both men and women, but found much higher concentrations in women. And the hormone of testosterone, which is found in both sexes, but much more predominant in men. In fact, 20 times more in men. That's the muscle. That's the hormone of building muscle, alongside growth hormone as well. So we have it in abundance. So by having more muscle as a man, your thinking improves. Why is this? Well, we know when you hold more fat, you're in an inflamed state. And inflammation doesn't just affect the organs of the body, like the heart, the liver, the kidneys, and the pancreas. It also affects the brain as well. There's something called neuroinflammation. So the more obesity you have as a man, generally, the slower you're thinking. And this was the thinking of many scholars. They said obesity is directly linked to laziness. And it is not from a sifat or rajula, it is not from the attributes of a man to be overweight. In fact, the Prophet ﷺ himself had a very lean physique, broad shoulders, no protruding abdomen. In fact, his chest went over his stomach, and when he leaned, you could see ridges on his abdomen, which is indicative of a very lean physique. So we say the stronger you are in body, the sharper you are in mind. There's a definite link. So that's one of the importances of having muscle, having a muscular physique, and being mentally and physically sharp. The third thing is we are the best nation. كنتم خير أمة أخرجت للناس. You are the best nation brought forth for mankind. This should apply to our physical health as well. Health is an imana. And there's a hadith where the Prophet ﷺ says, take care of 3 before 3. Or 5 before 5, but 3 before 3 is health before your disease or ill health, your life before your death, and your youth before your old age. Here he specified health before disease. So health, longevity, improving the quality of your life is an intrinsic part of our faith. Indeed, the strong believer is better than the weak believer, but also the strong believer can defend, because we know one of the remits of a man is to be a protector. Qawwam means maintainer and protector. You cannot really protect your women if you are physically a da'if meaning a weak man. So it's important to be strong. And secondly, if you're a man who's well built, you can scare the kuffar. Very important as a man to have a physical frame about you. In fact, there's a narration that when Umar would walk one side, the shaitan would cross the road. So we should have this physical aura about us, because we are the best nation brought forward for mankind. And the importance of being a sword that is sheathed. Never being aggressive, but being able to fight. Being combat competent is very important, and you cannot do that if you don't have muscle. You cannot do that if you're not physically strong. So that's the importance from a Shari perspective of having muscle. And even before the message of Islam came to the Arabs of Mecca, many civilizations before, if you look at the Shaolin monks, the Greeks, like Plato, they were wrestlers and poets and writers. They knew the importance of being smart academically and intellectually and strong physically. We cannot separate both. We must be strong in body, strong in mind. So that's something which we'll talk about in the next 9 lessons, inshaAllah, in the physical health module. And I'll just share a quick story with you. Every time I shred my weight and get leaner than I am now, or I get stronger, for instance, I notice my brain firing better. There's a direct correlation in my personal experience of 20 years of training, where I found the leaner, better my body, the better my thinking, the more my khushu' in my salah. So majority of men now are overweight, and in fact about half are obese living in the West. This is a great travesty and leads not only to health problems but also spiritual problems as well. For indeed a man who is ill-disciplined with his food can also be ill-disciplined with other aspects of his life as well, including his gaze, including his spending, including his anger and emotions. These are all linked. You cannot separate physical health from mental health, which is the next module, and you cannot separate physical health from spiritual health as well. So barakallah feekum. Hope you finish off the next lessons, inshaAllah wa ta'ala, and we'll talk about that, building a good physique, how you don't have to work hard but work smarter, and the halal ways to biohack, including supplementation as well, and sleep and stress control. Assalamu alaikum.